Everyone, right now we will be sewing our trouser together. So first of all, this is my band. It's on fold, and I use a very light interlining just to make it thicker. Can you see that? And this will be the 1/2 inch for the sewing allowance at the lower part, and this which will cover it up. So after doing that, then we'll go over to the flap materials. So here now for this one, I also added a light interlining just at one side of this material, and then I folded it back and then sew it. I just use a zigzag stitch to just sew it down. If you have a serger, you should use that. And then for this, I just turn it in like a 1/4 of an inch and then use a zigzag stitch to sew it all through. So right now we'll go over to fixing our pockets. So right now this is my 2 front panel. So first, before fixing our zipper, before fixing our pocket, just turn to the right side this way. Can you see this? And then this is the pocket for one side. This is how it should be. Can you see that? So what I will do is now I will open it up and then make sure this right side is facing this right side this way. This is what I will do. Then I'll take to the sewing machine and just sew 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch. Then I will take it to the sewing machine. Make sure you pin these parts together, and then we'll start sewing. I will back stitch. So right now, after doing that, so we will top stitch. How do you do that? You just open it up this way and you top stitch the seam towards the pockets. Can you see? Or better still, you just notch it around before doing that. So I'll just notch. This will make it easier when you are top stitching. So can you see it now? Remember, you will top stitch towards the pocket area. After top stitching it, this is what I have. So I can turn it back to the right side. So when you fold it this way, it will be neater. Top stitching makes it neater. Then again, after folding, let me just show you what it looks like. So this is what it looks like now. This is the pocket. So again, after folding it, you will take to your sewing machine and just sew it in with the pocket. That is the one of the sides. Maybe 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 1 1/2, depending on what you want. And then we sew it here to make it flat. So right now I will start sewing. And we are through with this. So right now we've done that, and you can see it is so flat. So the next thing now is to open it up this way and then turn to the right side. Take it this way. So you'll be sewing on the right because this will be going in. And then I'll take to my sewing machine. Make sure you match the pockets. I'll take to my sewing machine and sew from here. I will sew it this way and down to this place. So right now, I have attached the pocket together. Then I'll take it to the sewing machine and sew from this edge down to the end of the pocket. Then you will go along the curve area. Don't forget to remove your pin. And then I will stop at the end of the pocket. So right now, after sewing on the right side, remember we brought it out. So Again, you now turn to the back and then bring it inside. This is what you have. Then I will sew this way, just half an inch from this edge, half an inch all through. This is to make it so intact, so that by the time you put your hand in your pocket, it doesn't come out. And on the right side, it will be like this. So we have our pocket this way. So I have top stitch on the outside, and I will turn this way. Can you see our pocket is now intact? This is what it will look like. Then you now take this part to your sewing machine and just sew this place, just to keep it intact until you attach your band. Right now we are done with the pocket. I did the same thing I did to this to the other pocket, and have top stitch it at the upper part. So can you see these are pockets intact, and then on the right side this is what we have. Can you see that? So the next thing now is to fix our zipper. So just turn it on each other to the right side this way. This is what we will have, and then measure how many inches you want your zipper to be. So here, for instance, from the edge, I will just measure 7 inches. That is how much I want it to be. So 7 inches is here. And remember, we will take in half an inch seam allowance at the upper part. So I'll just make it 7.5. Can you see that? But we actually want our zipper to be 7 inches. So right now, I'll now sew from here. Remember, this is 7.5. So just come to the, so this is where we'll start. So right now, I will now sew from this 7.5 inches till this place. I will take to my sewing machine and just sew half an inch seam allowance from here down to here. Now stop with some allowances here, and then you back stitch. So right now, after taking this in, can you see that? So on the right side, this is what it will look like. Can you see that? So now, you will now take this part of your material and then turn it again to the wrong side. So then, remember, we started from this upper part. So now, make sure the length of this material is the same. So measuring from here, the lower one, to the upper part. So any excesses you have, you cut it off, because you want it to be on the same level with this. So the next thing now is that I will place this right side facing right side here, and then I will pin it down. I will be sewing it half an inch all down, making sure it ends at the lower mark. So that's good. So I will pin it all through. So right now I've pinned it all down. Can you see? Then you open up this seam, this half an inch seam allowance, and put it in between, so it has to be at the area where we marked. Can you see? So opening it up, you have it in here. So you'll be sewing it to this seam allowance. So I'll take it to my sewing machine and sew half an inch all down. So right now I've sewn half an inch all down. So this is what you will have, and on the right side, this is what it looks like. Can you see? So because we want this to go in perfectly, to be flat, so you go back to the wrong side, and then you top stitch this seam allowance towards this flap. Can you see that? So right now I will top stitch here. So this is what I have now. Looking at it from the right side, can you see? So we will have it this way. So you can just give it a good press. So now we can insert our zipper. So now you just place it towards the side. Can you see it? After doing that, then you place your zipper here. So we will be sewing this side, right side of the zipper facing this. So, and do not forget the half-inch seam allowance at the upper area. So this is enough for the half-inch seam allowance. So I will just place it this way, and then you place it half-inch. That is, this side you are sewing to your flap. Make sure you place it half-inch inward. So this is what we have. Going over it again, this flap should be towards this place, and then you place your zipper at the edge of the folded part, and then you pin it down. Right side of the zipper facing right side of this. So then we'll take to our sewing machine now, open it up this way, and then you will sew with your presser zipper foot, and then you sew all down very close to the zipper. So now I've inserted my zipper foot. Because it is right-handed, so I will have to turn it this way, and then I will sew like this. So right now I've sewn it down. Can you see? It's so close to it. So by the time it's like this other side will be sewed to the other crotch area. So this is what you have on the right side. So the next thing now is to attach this part to the main trouser this way. So we will be sewing this way, depending on how wide you want it to be. If it is like 1.5, so you sew it all down this way. I will use a brighter chalk. So now we will be sewing this way, all down. And then when you get to this area, can you see? This is where we stopped. So you curve it like this. You curve it in such manner, just the same way this flap goes. Can you see that? So you turn it back. If you know it is not comfortable for you to sew this way, just sew a basting stitch here first before sewing this all through. So right now I'll just pin it down and take it to my sewing machine to sew. So right now I've pinned it down. Can you see the mark? This is what it looks like on the wrong side. So right now we'll take to our sewing machine, and then we will sew. Just follow whatever curve you have. Go in a curvy manner around that part, and then keep turning gently. Can you see that? Then I'll remove my last pin and then finish it up. And we are done. So we are done with this side of the crotch area. Can you see that? This is what we have on the wrong side. You can see everything is sewn neat. So the next thing now is we will be sewing this side of this zipper to this before attaching this particular one. So remaining ½ inch here, you can open it up this way. Once you open it up, make sure this right side is facing it this way. Can you see that? So just place it ½ inch, and then I will pin it down and show you. So right now I have pinned it down ½ inch, the remaining ½ inch seam allowance left. I have added it to it. Can you see the way I pin it down? So now let me turn it to the right side for you to see. Can you see what it looks like? Let me just zip it up. Can you see what it looks like? So make sure you don't have any bulgy fold here. So right now I'll open it up and then take to my sewing machine and just sew very close to the zipper before we attach this. No part of this video should be used for monetary purpose because these are all works of Bilki's signature. So now I'm already close to the end of the zipper. So I'll just make sure my needle is in it. I'll lift it up and then I will pull up the zipper just for it to make it easy for me to go through this side. So now I can continue sewing after zipping it up, so it will make it easier for me to go through this part. So right now we have sewn this all down. So I will turn to the right side to see how it looks. Can you see? Can you see everything is so flat and the zipper? So the next thing now is to attach this. So we'll be placing it this way. You know we already sewed this. Just place this side, this raw edge, make sure it's under the zipper. So just place it at half an inch or 1 inch depending on the seam allowance you left. So I'll pin it down, then I will sew very close to the zipper. I will just like top stitching, and then we are done. I'll pin it down and let you see. So looking at it now, see the way I pin it down. Can you see? I place this right side on this right side and then I pin it down. So when you turn it, it will be like this. Can you see? So right now you'll be sewing like this. So you could now repin your fabric again, and then you take to the sewing machine and then top stitch. Right now I've top stitched the zipper. Can you see the zipper to the flap? So this is what I have. So on the wrong side, this is what I have. So I'll place it back and zip it up for you to see. Can you see that everything is so intact? Can you see the zipper? And on the wrong side, this is what we will have. So I'll just cut off this excess with my thread cutter. Then take this one and join it this way. So I'll take to my sewing machine and just make a stitch like 5 or 6 times on this. So now I've attached this, and this is what I have. You can see it is so in place, and on the right side everything is intact. So we'll go to the back panel and start joining together. So this is my 2 back panel. So I have to take in the dart, and then the next step will be to join this crotch area. I will just pin it up and then sew in my darts. So I've pinned up the crotch area, then I will take to my sewing machine and join the darts. So right now I've joined my darts. Can you see? I've taken in my darts and then the crotch area. So the next thing now is to turn it to the wrong side, because we will be joining the front and back together. And this is my front, also on the wrong side. So now I'll start pinning. So I will take half an inch seam allowance all through. Remember, I left half an inch seam allowance, so I will sew all through, and then this side. So right now I've pinned the sides together. Can you see that? I've pinned it all through, and also the tie area. Can you see? So I'll take to my sewing machine and start sewing all the sides and over here. So just sew whatever seam allowance you left on your fabric. Always remove your pins. So right now we've sewn the sides and also the middle part. Can you see that? Always trim off your excess thread with your thread cutter, and that is it. Can you see our trouser has taken shape? So the next thing now is to fix the band. So right now, to attach the band, there are 2 ways. I already folded in my seam allowance. There are 2 ways to fix it. First, you could just go round. You could start from the wrong side so that you can finish the band on the right side. So you just start sewing. And you see, you just sew the seam allowance from here, leaving some here for you to turn it over. So you just sew it all through around, and then you now fold it. After sewing this, then you finish it up this way. So you have something like this. But I am just going to do a quick one. All you have to do is to open up the zipper, and then what I did was this. I just sewed this 1/4 inch and then turn it out this way. Can you see that? Then I will just put it in half an inch. Can you see that? Half an inch. And then I'll pin it all through, since I already have my seam allowance folded. And then I'll place it that way, half an inch. Again, I will fold all through. So right now I've pinned the band. Can you see it? I pinned it all through. Can you see? So when I get here, I will also turn this and fold it in. So right now I will start sewing. So right now I'll just keep sewing the band all through till the end. So right now the band has been fixed. Can you see that? Can you see this side? Even on the wrong side, can you see everything is so neat, the crotch area. So this is how your trouser should look like. So the next thing now is to go over to the ankle. Remember we left 2 inches seam allowance, so I'll turn it to the wrong side for you to see. So now this is the seam allowance, so you just fold it in. Can you see that? Make sure this is on fold and the seam line matches each other. Then you can pin it, and then I will fold half an inch inward, and then I'll pin it down all through and take to my sewing machine to sew. So right now, my trick in sewing this ankle area is this. I just remove this part of my sewing machine and then fix it this way. It makes it easier, and place under your foot. Can you see that? Then put in your needle, your foot, and I'll remove my pin. Then I'll start sewing. So it really makes it so easy for me. So right now we'll finish the ankle of our trouser, and you can see everything is so neat and perfect. So before I give it a good press, here you could add button to it, but I will just use hook and eye, place this here, and this will be underneath this. So I will just use my needle to tack it down, and then I will put it on for you to see how it looks.
Hello everyone, and this is the result of our trouser. Can you see that was so easy to make? Can you see everything was in line? And as long as you've gotten your measurement right, so the wideness of your knee, your ankle depends on your preference. So just give it a try and let me see how it works out. Bye.